Well, the day isn't ideal, but life is like that, so there's that. I'd say it's pretty damp out here. Just a little. Dang, there's not even a dry place to stand under here. There's so much water running over there. It is very wet. There we go. Well, I gotta say the packaging was good. We had the one big box, this box. We got some more cardboard inside here, and inside of that, there's cardboard inside here. Added more padding. Inside of that box, got this box. So yeah, Derek at Williston Audio Labs talked about the bass knob, and he pretty much expressed his opinion that it was horrendous. Well, it ain't nothing to write home about, but it will do the job. And there's a couple of screws to be able to disassemble this, so you can break this down and mount this in behind a different panel. And it doesn't feel great, but the potentiometer feels fine. It works. And of course it comes with the telephone cable. I like this closed cell foam packaging. Much better packaging than the old styrofoam. And we got ourselves another manual, and I love these manuals. I ain't on to them. Also in the manual bag, there's screws, washers, and lock washers. That's cool. So, let's get inside here. Now we got a silica gel pack in there. And these are Allen screw terminals. But they do not include an Allen wrench or Allen wrench set to use these. That's interesting. I actually disapprove of that, because most amplifiers do come with an Allen head set to be able to use the terminals. This one absolutely does not. I do not like that. The RCAs do come with covers over them. That's nice. They're not the Tiffany style ones. There's a power and a protect and a plug for your bass knob. line level inputs, 3 phases of bass boost. You can't boost where you set it, but I don't use bass boost anyway. Got your gain, a low pass filter, and a subsonic filter. And the 2 optional positives and negatives so that you can have places to hook up multiple subwoofers without having to try to jack 2 things into one hole. These look like alt gauge terminals, which makes sense. Alright, so this is a really heavy duty alt gauge bare wire. That fits in there without any problems. That's good. And it looks like we have 8 gauge over here for the speaker outputs. So that's positive. The amp's got some weight to it. Definitely not light. These feel like really good connections. So I'm impressed with that. And this is also plastic out here, but it's really hard. I mean, this is some rigid stuff. I like the fact that there is plastic because that does help you with the conductivity issues between these different connections. You know, I don't know how well these terminals are going to hold together, but the inside of them is aluminum, I believe. This should work fine. What I don't like is the angled worm drive, because if you don't get the wire all the way in there far enough in the hole, your worm drive bolt will tend to slip out the end and lose connection. Sometimes getting the wire up inside long enough to be able to be grabbed by the worm screw can be difficult on these angled setups. I got, you know, we're doing it like we do it, baby. Just another one of you guys. That's special. We all fight with the same battles. But you got to get that wire. Right now, this is all the way set in, right? So I'm running into that bolt. And I'm running into that bolt, and I'm able to get that whole wire up in there. Yeah, that worm screw is totally in the way right now. I don't have it pulled out. And yet, with that worm screw in there, this whole thing is going in there. Why am I having so much trouble? That whole thing is going in there. And so if you were tightening this up and you had this much wire strip shoved in there, you would think it was grabbing, but you wouldn't be grabbing anything. So be warned, you're going to have to strip back quite a bit to get a good connection. That said, the connection will be fine. You just got to go in there a lot deeper than you think. And that could be a problem for people. Now, from an installation standpoint, I look at all kinds of stuff. So if you notice, the screw right here is fairly close to this, but it's not undoable. Should be able to sneak one in there without a whole lot of trouble. It would have been nicer, though, if this notch was over a little bit more to allow for an easier screwing. Over here, it's in pretty good shape, see? But there, it's a little bit tight, and you might find yourself having to struggle to get a screw in there. These are decisions that could have been different. See, down here, we're in good shape. Also, the screws don't line up with the line inputs, so that's not going to become a problem. That is an oversight, in my opinion. Should have been designed differently. And I don't care for those angled screws, for I already told you why. So other things that you have to think about when you're installing. Which of these is positive and negative? From this angle, which of these is the speaker positive and negative? Which of these is the power and ground? From this angle, you can't tell. Now you get down here and lean way up in here, and then you can see them. Although it is clearly written, it could be better if there was a red and a black, or a big positive and negative, or something like that posted out here. Same with these guys. You know, you have to get down here and look pretty close to be able to see positive and negative. And if you're fighting around a bunch of wires and a bunch of other stuff, it's hard to read that. Why not make this side positive red and this side black? You did the red and black, which one is it? I don't even remember here. So yeah, if you make this one red, this one black, and then this one red, this one black, it's easier to see from any position which one's which. All these things are key. If you're going to have a protect light and a power light, why not have them out here where you can see it? By the time you install this may be kind of hidden. You know, having it out to where you can see it would be cool. And well, it's not hard. I mean, the damn lights are right here. Instead of mounting them on this plate, you just make the holes up here and turn them this direction and let them poke out that way. And then you can see them. These are things that I notice from an installer standpoint. So one of the things that I like is you can see this is all Hyanka gear right here. These are the Hyanka Marine speakers, which sound amazing. And they have lights in them. They light up, RGB. That's one of the Hyanka 15s. That's actually the dual 4, which I wanted the dual 2, but they didn't have any of those, so we got a dual 4. I noticed the color scheme. So that guy there is silver and that red and black. This guy here is black, silver, and red with white. The color scheme matches the whole setup. So color-wise, it's a very well organized set of gear. And that's a plus. From an installing standpoint, again, having your gear match and the color scheme match is cool. You could do a red, white, and black build, and it would all line out perfectly. It would all look like it belongs together. They've kept the font and everything nice and consistent. I do like the fact that they say it's a 1500 watt amplifier, not a 5000 watt amplifier. Class D car amp. Yeah. There's no bullshit. It's just a straight up, information. It is a 1500 watt audio is basically known to be a budget friendly clone of Sundown in a lot of ways. We've seen that, right? Hyanka based this amplifier, it's essentially a budget-er friendly clone of a Scar 1500.1. The boards are not exactly the same, but boy, they're close. And this information is courtesy of Wilson Car Audio. I did not do this. I have not disassembled this and done as much digging as checked out one video that he had on this amplifier. They are really close. And I would go so far as to say, yeah, straight up, it's a Scar 1500 watt clone. That said, it does make about 98% of the power ratings it says. Really close. And the price is good. So I know that Bass Attic 91's been running some of these Hyanka amplifiers for months. And I also know he ain't letting the grass grow under them. He's been beating the brakes off of them. Just beat them to death, and they just keep working. I don't have it running right now. Not yet, anyway. But What do I think about it? Well, I think for the price, it's pretty cool. I think the look is not bad. It's well represented in its brand. The information on the amplifier is accurate, at least 99% accurate. The information on the box is also accurate. I already know it does really close to its rated power on the bench. Says it'll operate 12 to 16 volts. It does not come with a fuse on the amplifier, of course. It's for an external fuse. But I know that Derek Williston tested this thing down to 0.6 ohms, and it worked. It did not at 0.5. It went into protect on 0.5 ohms. But it did go into protect and then come out of protect, so it didn't explode or catch on fire. That's a plus. I wouldn't be afraid to do a whole build with these things. I mean, you know, I don't know what the price is on them. I'll have to look it up. I think they're a little over $100. So if you could get them for $100 a piece, or $120 or something like that, $150. I would say you could do a whole row of these little high octane amps. Because you see, I have Slaps Audio 160x4, and I've got this V2 Audio 610 VSP. This guy also just so happens, it's very small, just to give you an example, very small. It just so happens to match color-wise. It matches quite well with the Hayaka. They all look pretty dang good together, don't they? 3 different brands. I think it's kind of cool. Check it out. See how well those all blend? 3 totally different brands. They all look like they belong together. Well, in this Tahoe, I've also got these Marine speakers already in here. That Hayaka sub is in here. And that box is tuned to around 37 or 38 hertz. So it's a really musical box. And I've got all this equipment. I can make a thing back here. But wait, there's more. We also have this. This is a Rockford Fosgate, essentially head unit. Now this may be a little bit ambitious, but I'm the kind that likes to live outside the box. What would you guys think about doing a home system setup with all this equipment? What would you guys think about me doing a studio setup for my computer where I do all my live shows with this stuff? Showing you how to incorporate, how easy it is to incorporate car audio into your house. In fact, the setup that I have in there right now uses entirely car audio speakers and a really expensive amplifier, a really inexpensive little home style amplifier, but it could just as easily be running off of this gear with the DSP and everything, all in my studio for my computer sound system, which could easily be considered a home theater experience. It would require overhauling my entire space, which I hate doing with a deep passion. But if we're honest, it needs to be done. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. It's interesting. Interesting. It's interesting.